I want to say something here about Texas and California because um, Texas is becoming a more competitive state. California is becoming a less competitive state. And this recall, what a farcical thing it was. Um, I have a lot of criticism of the California Constitution. I mean, unless the governor has committed some heinous act, uh, the governor's up every 4 years. That's enough time to evaluate the governor. So yeah, if there's a crime, you need an impeachment process. If the government hasn't committed an impeachable offense, then wait 3 years and vote the governor out of office. But California is really suffering from being a one-party state in a way that Texas is too. And just as Texas needs to come into the modern age, California needs to find a way to get back to two-party politics and away from the factional politics within the Democratic Party. I mean, you have serious issues, everything from your pension system to the homeless on the streets, um, and people need real, meaningful competition. Um, that clip of the mayor of San Francisco explaining why she didn't wear a mask herself while everybody else did, if a candidate who had the hot breath of competition at her neck would not have behaved that way. That is someone who just feels like there's really nothing I can do to lose this job, so it doesn't matter what I do. Every political leader should feel I really could lose this job at the next election if I do a bad job, and they work for you. They work for you. They're not Beyonce. They're not your heroes. They work for you, and they need to know that they could be fired if they mess up or if they misbehave. And California needs to find a way to bring back two-party competition. This recount was not it. This recall was not it, but there needs to be a way.
Well, I mean, the demographics are just against it at this point. It's the Republican.
Why?
It's 2-1 right now, registered Democrats to Republicans.
So change. There's this idea that God gave certain categories of voters to the Democratic Party. And you're going to discover that's not true. I mean, it's the fecklessness and irresponsibility of Republican leadership. But um, you need real political entrepreneurship to say California needs competition, and it's a huge society and a very complicated society full of clashing interest groups. Uh, and they don't and they don't belong all in one party. And if they do, that party then becomes a kind of like the Italian Christian Democrats, they're most corrupt. It becomes a brokerage party where it's always making deals in back rooms. The thing that party competition offers is it brings issues out into the light of day to be competed over. They're not done quietly and where no one can see and with in a way that only people who really pay a lot of attention can understand. And so, I think if I were 30 years younger, one of my projects in life would be move to California and try to build a meaningful Republican Party, because it's not just good for Republicans. The more important, it would be good for California to have meaningful political competition.
Well, many mainstream Republicans here in California are wringing their hands that Larry Elder was the leading candidate on their
Right.
side.
But whose fault was that? Was their fault. Like that their fault is that it's not. I mean, Larry Elder is a radio talk show host, and that has certain imperatives. But the California Republican Party, It's not just. It's not the voters' fault. It's never the voters' fault. They're the bosses. They get. It's the people applying for the job. It's their fault. They've not given the voters an attractive enough offer. One of the things that you might do, for example, is in the United States. I'm a native of Canada. And in Canada, the provincial and federal systems are quite distinct. So in the parts of Canada that are more jaundiced about the central government, and in the province of Saskatchewan, for example, the right of center party is called the Saskatchewan Party. It does not have anything to do with the federal Conservative Party, which is unpopular in Saskatchewan for reasons I won't bore you with. But why not organize a right of center California party that says we don't field candidates for president and U.S. Senate. The Republicans can do that. We are fielding candidates for governor and state senate, and what we're about is saying that prison guards should not make $125,000 a year. Pensions should be funded. You shouldn't have tents on the streets. We need an effective policing program. We need to get, we need to get We agree we need to get guns off the street. But But we're a law and order party, and we're about enterprise. We're about busting the hold of particular interest groups. I mean, it should be possible for dental hygienists not to have to pay a dentist in order to clean people's teeth, to have a more dynamic microeconomy. So you need a party that does those things and is not beholden to whatever goofy thing that people in Alabama think about the presidency of the United States.